G'day, church. Great to be with you once again. As always, I'm joined by Michael as we continue our How to Read the Bible series. Good to see you, mate.
Yes, good. Thanks, mate. It's lovely weather outside.
Beautiful. Spring is here, finally. Hey, I want to ask you a question today, and
Mhm.
quite a simple question, but hopefully this will shed some light for some people. Can I read any part of the Bible in the same way? Can I do that?
Well, let me answer it short and sweet by saying no, but
Okay.
then let me answer by using an illustration. I don't know what type of material you like reading: novels, poetry, technical books, murder mysteries, magazines. You wouldn't read them all the same way to get
Yeah,
out
sure.
of it what you want to get out of it. And
Yeah.
it's the same with the Bible.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess what you're referring to there is, and maybe the technical term is that there are different genres in the Bible. Is that right?
Exactly. Yep,
So
exactly.
so run us through what are the main genres that we find in the Bible?
So, probably the biggest one is what we call narrative. Historical narrative storyline,
Yeah.
and it covers a good slab of the Bible. You've got law or principles for living, especially the first five books of the Bible. You've got prophecy, you've got poetry, wisdom literature, gospels, which is part of narrative, and acts. Then you've got the letters, either written to a church, local church, or written to an individual. And then you've got we've just finished looking at with the book of the Revelation, apocalyptic literature.
Yeah. So there's quite a few different genres in there, and
Mm.
maybe we might actually spend not today, but next time we might actually drill down into each of those different genres and
Yeah,
explore
next,
them.
I think if we go one at a time, and maybe next week we'll look at narrative because it's probably the biggest one,
Biggest, yeah,
and we're
yeah.
probably more familiar with story than anything else.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess we're just sort of helicoptering across the
Yeah.
top a little bit today. But in the Bible that you and I read, the Protestant Bible, we've got 66 books in the Bible.
Hmm.
We've got 39 in the old, what we call the Old Testament, and
Yep.
27 in the New Testament. Why is it broken up into, I suppose, these sections that we refer to like that?
Well, we've got the biggest break is what has been called old and new. Old because of the older aspects of what we call a covenant, and the new according to the newer aspect of the covenant. So that's one division. There are other ways to break it up, but that's the simplest one.
Yeah,
And then you've got the 39 books in the Old Testament according to whatever genre they might be, and
yeah.
27 in the New. So that's the prodigal breakdown.
Yeah, that differs though, Michael, to a Hebrew Bible.
Yeah.
Explain some of the differences, for us there.
Well, probably one of the most notable differences is there's no what we would call the New Testament. It finishes with what we would call the Old Testament. And when you first look at it, you think, hang on, they've only got 27 books. Where's the other 12 gone? Well, they're all there. They're just being put together in a different way. For
Sure.
example, we would have 1 and 2 Samuel, 1 and 2 Kings, 1 and 2 Chronicles. They have Samuel, Kings, and Chronicles. You would
All in
have,
one. Yeah.
yeah, so you've got 3 there instead of 6. Instead of the all of the minor prophets as individual books, they call them the 12, which is one. So they just break it up a little different
Yeah.
as the way we break it up. That's
Yeah.
really all. But the same material in what we call the Old Testament is the Hebrew Bible, or as it's been called, the Tanak is a modern name. I just read an interesting literature on how far back we can trace the use of that. And it was quite a late, probably it was after the Middle Ages that we ended up with that abbreviation. The T from Torah, or the first five books, Navim from the prophets, and the K from Katarim, where we get the writings or the poetic books and things. So you got
Wow.
T and K, and they've just put an A in between,
Wow.
as Phil is just for Tanakh. So if you said Tanakh, they would understand what that is.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So taking the first letter from those
Mm,
words to articulate those books. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you remember Jesus talking to the 12 in Luke 24 said, and he showed his story from the law, the prophet, the writing, and the prophets.
Yeah, that's interesting. Speaking of the prophets, actually, I just want to see maybe this might help someone listening today as well. You just called the 12 minor prophets, so we would
Hmm.
refer to minor prophets and major prophets.
Yes.
Why the term minor prophets? Is it because what they say isn't as important as the major prophets, or not?
No, it's simply because of the quantity of what they've written. So
Hmm.
you'll notice from Isaiah through to Daniel are the biggest ones, and then you've got the minor, even down to virtually one or two chapters
Chapters, yeah.
for the minor. That's really the only reason. The way we've stored them in what we call a Protestant Bible isn't chronological or according to the time frame that they're written. It's just put in size wise.
Yeah. And that's probably another conversation for another day
Yeah, when we
around
deal with them.
reading the Bible, in a chronological
Mm,
order. I know that's something that a couple of years ago you gave me a chronological Bible, and it's a beautiful way of reading the Bible. And you soon see that, yeah, if you're trying to start in Genesis and read all the way through, it's not chronological. So maybe that's another conversation. We can whet people's
yeah,
appetite that people might want to invest in a chronological Bible and just see how it
they're a
actually.
great tool, fantastic tool.
Yeah, very good. Well, hopefully, this is just a bit of a starter conversation, I suppose, around the different
Mm,
genres in the Bible. And like Michael said, I think next time we get together, we'll unpack, drill down a little bit further into the genre that we're calling narrative
yep,
or story. So, does that sound all right, mate?
that sounds good to me.
Fantastic.
Maybe
Well,
as just as an exercise, people could just go flick through their Bible and just try to identify the various genre that are in there.
yeah,
You know,
great.
I'm presuming nothing. Maybe you know all this and you think, yeah, I know all this, but I'm not going to presume anything because maybe this is the first time you've heard this,
Yeah.
and it's to
But
help us
even if you
read the
have heard
Bible.
this before, it's a good reminder, on
Mm,
really how to. And that's, I suppose, what the whole series is all about: how to, effectively read the Bible. So,
yep,
thank you once again, mate. As always, appreciate your insight and your wisdom. And church,
no
we will be
worries.
with you again next week as we drill down into the genre that we call narrative. We'll see you then.
Enjoy the sun.